not October, but we had some awesome playoff action down at Wade Stadium tonight. The Duluth Huskies looking to punch their ticket to the World Series championship and their first ever league title. The hometown kid, Mr. Baseball Minnesota, Owen Marsalic, gets the nod as the starting pitcher tonight. And he was not afraid of the pressure or the spotlight, mowing down Moondogs left, right, up, down, and middle. He had 4 strikeouts and allowed no runs through 6 innings. Then the Huskies offense got to work. First, it's catcher Kingsley Guthrie, who slaps a base hit into left field. The first RBI of the night goes to the Huskies, Reagan Reeder giving Duluth the 1-0 lead. Now the bases are loaded in the bottom of the 6th. Rowan Kelly stays in the box, takes a heater off his leg. That's called being a team player, as that's a free run for Duluth, and now it's a 2-0 ball game. The bag's still loaded for Esco native Noah Furcht. He smacks one through that infield gap. Guthrie holds up at third, but Jake Downing makes it across home plate, extending that Duluth lead once again. And for the first time since 2023 and 5th time in franchise history, the Huskies are heading to the Northwoods League World Series championship game after a 4-1 victory over the Moondogs. And that championship game will be right back at Wade Stadium tomorrow night at 6:35. The Huskies hosting the Green Bay Rockers for the championship. So let's make sure to pack the Wade and support the Huskies to win their first ever title. Now to the best.